Good morning, folks. The real Captain Kirk here, live from Weather Trends 360 studio here in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. It is the 30th of September. Hard to believe, end of the month. The cows around here are really happy here. Warm, dry weekend we've had. A little bit of fog this morning. Cows out in Montana, though, not happy campers, to say the least. 48 inches of snow with a major early fall blizzard, not even winter yet. This will make September for the nation as a whole the snowiest in 19 years, going back to 2000. But again, all of that snow so far in the U.S. has been in the northern Rocky Mountains. So the first of the season got us to think we should probably talk winter here. Clients have known about our winter outlook here for a good 7-8 months already, but I thought we'd just talk about briefly. These are ocean temperatures versus last year on the left and versus average on the right. Several factors, dueling factors here. We have an eastern La Nina, we have a central-based Mordecai El Nino. The blob is maybe back. Positive AMO in the North Atlantic, solar minimum. All of these are factors, but one thing we'd want to point out here is that typically warm water, you're going to have a ridge here, and then you can have a downstream trough low pressure over the colder waters off the East Coast. The concern here with the cold waters of the East Coast is not a nor'easter pattern by any means. This is more of a cold, dry pattern in the core winter months at best. So again, we're thinking leaning cold, dry, and not so much snow. So we'll talk some of the details here as we look at this. This is our snowfall map versus last year for North America. Again, overall for the U.S., we're going to say snowfall is down 24%, projected to be down 24% versus last year. This is actually for the November through March timeframe, so we're counting the fringe months outside of the core winter. Maybe some heavier snow that goes across the south central, and some ice storms potentially down there, but the main storm track we believe is going to take it right through the Ohio Valley. So the Indiana's, the Chicago side of the storms are probably going to be the bigger winners this winter, as opposed to the Northeast, which we do not think will have a real snowy winter this year. This is a week-by-week trend, year-over-year. Clients like to see the trends year-over-year, differences from last year. So again, a drier pattern for sure for the nation as a whole. So a lot of down, dry weeks. Those peach bars on the left there, and the green bars are where we think it'll be wetter year on year. The map chart on the right is actually temperature trends nationally. Again, so warm bookends, the fall and the spring, much warmer than last year, and the middle, colder. So overall for the heating season, which is October to March, we'd say the warmest in 3 years, ninth warmest in 30 years, above average temperatures. But the core winter, we think, is going to be kind of a short, intense winter. December through February would be the coldest in 5 years, about average for the nation as a whole. So certainly some excitement mid-Christmas, mid-December, at Christmas time, going into the front half of January. Maybe one last blast in early February, but then overall, again, a very, very warm start to spring next year. So again, not that bad. Drier than last year, but snowfall again down 24% nationally. If we look at these trends in map form, again, a little bit cooler, and this is year-over-year trends, a little bit cooler in the southeast, but again, still above average down there. We don't think it's going to be terribly cold really anywhere. Maybe, it's much warmer, obviously, in the northern plains than last year because it was frigid, but even there, maybe average, not terribly cold. So again, not looking for a super intense winter, to say the least, here this year. One thing we do think is going to materialize is a drought. Back in May of this year, we had the lowest drought in many, many, many decades, going back as far as we could find. Only 9% of the country had dry to drought-like conditions, the map on the right. And as of this past week here, we're already jumping up to 39%. So you're seeing a lot more widespread drought. We think this number is actually going to increase to about 56% of the country by this time next year, as we get into the summer months next year, which puts it above average and probably the most widespread coverage of dry to drought conditions since 2013. So we do look for this to expand through the winter into the spring season next year in 2020. Looking at this week, the last day of September into the first 6 days of October, temperatures nationally similar to last year. This is kind of misleading. 6th warmest in 30 years, above average. We're going to get a blowtorch warm day here in the east midweek before this strong cold front that's been plaguing the northwest moves through. Nationally, we'd say it's the wettest in 4 years, 7th wettest in 30 years, above average with that heavy rain from New Mexico, where they need it actually down there in the southwest. They've been too much too quickly, though, will lead to certainly some flooding. Again, this is a little misleading because we can see this cold front come through, so it'll bring a brief shot of cold weather to the central U.S. and then a brief shot to the East Coast as we get toward later this week and the weekend. So could see some first frost in the northern upper Midwest and maybe the interior Northeast. So certainly looking for some upper 30s and some 40s. So frost, probably not looking for much in the way of freeze other than extreme northern Midwest. So some of that cold air will make it from where it's been snowing so hard here the past few days. This kind of shows the trends. Billings, Montana is going from really cold, well below normal, to above normal as we get into early next week. And here in the east, outside our studios, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, big warm surge Wednesday, and then the bottom falls out as we get into Saturday, with again those upper 30s, near 40 type temperatures as we get into the weekend. So then if we look at next week, 7 through 13 October, again, warmer than last year nationally. See, most of the country is actually here getting above average except for the Pacific Northwest. 11th warmest in 30 years, a little drier than last year, but still on the wet side with hopefully some rain here in the east. We've been very, very dry. Could certainly use some rain. Look at the world scale overall here, 30 September through 13 October. Again, most of the world showing some warmer trends here for this week. Russia, maybe a cold spot, in the Pacific Northwest, Western Canada, the cold spot as well. Jump here to the personal front. The little one had show and tell on this past week, so she took her superhero to school, Weather Trends 360 superhero, and so she had a great time. Got her first school photo here, preschool, and we're trying to figure out where that Jagunda smile comes from. Is it mommy or daddy? But mommy's in the middle there. But cutest little girl on earth. Obviously, any parent would say that about their kids. Took the little one to the beach again this weekend. Again, it was another obviously beautiful weekend here in the east. Warm, so headed to the Jersey Shore again and played in the sand and the water. And of course, Angelina has to make an angel in the sand. We regretted that later with the bath time. But with that, folks, we'll end here and let you watch our beach day here. So have a great week.